Let's jump right into this explainer, where we're going to unpack a truly fascinating concept that, honestly, completely flips one of our most common human struggles right on its head. I mean, think about it. What if life's hardest, most relentless battles aren't just, bad luck, but actually a highly targeted spiritual assignment? Today we are breaking down a framework known as the 7 signs of a dangerous anointing.
To really get to the core of this, we have to start with a question we've literally all asked ourselves at some point. Why is life so hard? Specifically, why do some people face this completely unexplainable weight and pressure? You probably know the feeling, right? Facing battles that no one else even seems to notice, walking a path that just feels fundamentally steeper than everyone else's. Well, the source material suggests that the very thing you're trying to escape might actually be proof that you are marked for a unique purpose.
Okay, moving into Section 1, Defining Dangerous Anointing. Let's see how the source entirely redefines this concept.
Usually when people hear the word anointed or favored, they kind of expect the VIP treatment, right? Like an easy life, open doors, maybe metaphorically winning the lottery. But the creator argues that a dangerous anointing actually invites the exact opposite, targeted opposition. It's a lot like the biblical story of David. When he was anointed, he definitely didn't get a comfortable palace right away. He got a one-way ticket to the wilderness to be hunted. The idea here is that your assignment is just so significant that it naturally attracts serious resistance.
So let's look at how that actually feels on the inside. In Section 2, Internal Weight and Isolation.
The source outlines that the first 2 signs manifest as deeply personal internal struggles. We are talking about a profound spiritual heaviness and these seasons of really intense, unexplained isolation. And just to be clear, this isn't your standard run-of-the-mill weekend loneliness. No, this is about feeling entirely alone even when you're in a crowded room, or watching your most comfortable friendships mysteriously just fade away.
Now, the creator makes a really crucial distinction here. We have to separate this heaviness from depression. They describe it as a deep weight in your spirit. It's this acute sensitivity where you can literally feel the atmosphere of a room shift. They anchor this concept with Romans 8:26, suggesting this heaviness is actually the weight of purpose. It's your spirit interceding when everyday words just aren't enough. And their main advice for this? Don't try to numb it.
And what about that painful isolation? Well, the source reframes this in a massive way. It argues that this is not abandonment at all. It's actually a super crucial period of preparation. Look at the major historical figures they cite. Moses spent 40 years in the desert. Jesus spent 40 days in the wilderness. The core takeaway here is that something huge is being built within you. And frankly, it's the kind of thing that just can't be constructed while you're distracted by a crowd.
That naturally brings us to Section 3, Spiritual Power and Polarization. Let's see how this internal shift starts moving outward. According to the source, all that intense internal preparation eventually spills outward into the real world. The 3rd and 4th signs group together around the literal weight of your prayers, and the, sometimes really confusing reactions that your mere presence provokes in other people.
Let's look at the prayer aspect first. The creator claims that even on your absolute weakest days, when your faith feels like it's completely running on empty, your prayers will still carry this unusual ability to shift things. Like you might pray for a friend and see tangible movement, regardless of how spiritual you happen to feel in that moment. As they point out using James 5:16, those prayers land effectively because of the anointing itself, not because of your current mood.
Then there's the social dynamic, which is honestly fascinating. The framework argues that this spiritual light creates unavoidable friction in relationships. Basically, there is zero middle ground. Some people are just instantly drawn to you and feel incredibly safe. But others, people who have absolutely no logical reason to dislike you, they become inexplicably hostile. The creator assures viewers this isn't a flaw in your personality. It's simply that spiritual light makes darkness really uncomfortable.
Let's dive into Section 4, Opposition and Rerouted Plans. This is where the framework gets highly analytical.
Here, the source offers a pretty radical reinterpretation of what we usually just call bad luck. Signs 5 and 6 explain exactly why you might face relentless, repeated attacks in one specific area. Think constant financial pressure or recurring health issues, and why your perfectly logical life plans seem to just keep getting hijacked.
To quantify this kind of spiritual delay, the creator asks us to consider the biblical story of Daniel. So Daniel prayed, and the text suggests the answer actually left heaven on day 1, but it faced fierce spiritual resistance for 3 full weeks. The idea is that the area of your life under the heaviest, most repetitive attack is likely the exact area that would do the most damage to the enemy if you were fully liberated. So that delay you're feeling, it isn't silence,
It's an active war zone.
And when it comes to those totally interrupted plans, the source points to the timeline of Joseph as a prime example. Joseph made good, completely reasonable plans, but instead he was thrown into a pit, sold into servitude, tossed into a prison, before finally reaching the palace. Every single step must have felt like a massive downgrade. But the framework argues it wasn't a punishment, it was actually a highly deliberate, divine reroute.
The creator uses Proverbs 19:21 to remind viewers that when perfectly good opportunities just vanish into thin air or a relationship suddenly ends out of nowhere, you have to remember, you aren't being blocked, you are being redirected. Your plans are being actively interrupted to make way for a far, far superior strategy.
And finally, we reach Section 5, the call on your life, which really ties this whole framework together into one big picture.
The seventh and final sign is described as a quiet, persistent knowing that you were made for something specific. And the creator is really careful to distinguish this from just being arrogant. It's an inner conviction that survives your absolute darkest seasons. It stays alive even when your current everyday reality looks absolutely nothing like the destiny you feel called to. It's basically this internal whisper that simply refuses to let you go.
The source anchors this feeling perfectly with Jeremiah 1:5. They argue that this deep knowing isn't just your imagination running wild. No, it's actually the echo of a declaration that was made over you before you were even born. According to the Creator, this is the ultimate reassurance that you haven't just made this all up in your head, and that your calling remains fiercely active.
So as we wrap up this explainer, we want to leave you with the exact same provocative question the source poses to its audience. Look back at these 7 signs: the heaviness, the isolation, the weight of your prayers, that sudden friction with people, the targeted attacks, the divine reroutes, and of course, that persistent inner knowing. Ask yourself, how many of these actually describe your life right now? It's a fascinating lens that transforms how we perceive hardship, potentially turning what just looks like relentless suffering into undeniable proof of a profound purpose.